A lone traveler arrives in a quiet town, his footsteps echoing through the narrow streets. His face is unfamiliar, yet there's something oddly recognizable about him. The townspeople exchange whispers, their eyes tracking his every move. He carries nothing but a small, worn-out bag and a pendant hanging from his neck. He stops at a tea stall, ordering a cup, his voice uncertain, as if speaking feels foreign. The stall owner, an elderly man with wise eyes, studies him. "New here?" he asks. The traveler nods. "I think so." A group of locals watches from a distance. One of them, a woman named Layla, steps forward. "You look lost," she says gently. He hesitates, fingers brushing the pendant. "I don't remember how I got here," he admits. "Or who I am." The town elder, Malvi Sahib, joins them, his gaze lingering on the pendant. "May I?" he asks. The traveler removes it, placing it in the old man's hand. The inscription is barely legible, but the name Karish is clear. A sharp intake of breath follows. "This name?" Malvi Sahib pauses. "It belongs to a story we do not speak of." Layla frowns. "A story?" The elder nods, but does not elaborate. Instead, he gestures for the traveler to follow him. "Come with me." They arrive at a small, dimly lit library filled with dusty books and forgotten memories. The elder pulls out an old, yellowed photograph. He holds it up next to the traveler. The resemblance is unsettling. The man in the photograph looks exactly like him, down to the pendant resting on his chest. The traveler grips the edge of the table, his breathing unsteady. "Who is he?" Silence stretches. Finally, Malvi Sahib speaks. "His name was also Armaan, and he died decades ago." A chill spreads through the room. Layla stares at the traveler, searching for an explanation. He touches his face, his pulse racing. The words make no sense, yet deep inside, something stirs. A buried memory, a feeling like an echo from another time. That night, as he lies on a borrowed cot in a small guest house, sleep does not come easy. Dreams swirl in the darkness. Visions of a woman in a white dress, standing by a river, calling his name. "Armaan." He wakes with a start, heart pounding. The name Karish lingers on his lips, familiar yet distant. He does not know her, yet her presence in his mind is undeniable. He looks at the pendant in his hand, turning it over, tracing the name with his thumb. A strange certainty settles in his chest. If he wants answers, he must uncover the truth about Karish. And somehow, he knows, the truth is waiting for him in this very town. The town remains uneasy around Armaan. His presence stirs something buried, something people would rather forget. He notices their glances, the hurried steps when he passes, the half-spoken words that trail off when he enters a room. It isn't fear. It's something deeper, like guilt. Layla, however, does not shy away. She brings him books, old newspapers, anything that might hold a clue. But the past is elusive. Stories contradict, pages are missing, and no one is willing to speak of Karish. One evening, as they sit by a lantern's glow, Layla finally speaks. Karish was real. A woman loved and lost. The town pretends she never existed, but she did. Armaan feels the name settle inside him, like it has always belonged there. What happened to her? Layla hesitates. They say she vanished. Some believe she was taken. Others that she never left at all. His hands tighten around the pendant. His dreams grow clearer. Flashes of a woman's laughter, the warmth of her hand in his, the promise of return. But always, they end the same way. A cry. A shadow. Silence. One night, restless and drawn by something unseen, Armaan walks through the quiet streets. The wind hums, carrying whispers he cannot understand. Then, he sees it, a flickering light inside an abandoned house at the town's edge. He steps inside. Dust thickens the air, furniture covered in white sheets like forgotten ghosts. A creak sounds behind him, but when he turns, nothing is there. Then his eyes land on a table. A book, untouched by dust, lies open. His fingers brush the pages, and his breath catches. A name written over and over, Karish. The pages tremble in his hands. He turns them carefully, his pulse quickening. It is a diary. The ink has faded, but the words remain. They tell of love, of waiting, of a promise never fulfilled. And then they darken. The script changes, hurried, desperate. They are coming.
I hear them outside.
I know what they want. If you ever find this, remember, love does not die. It waits. Always. The final words strike him like a thunderclap. Armaan, I will find you. His vision blurs. The air grows thick, pressing against his chest. He stumbles back, gasping for breath. Somewhere in the room, a soft voice murmurs his name. The lantern flickers and dies. Morning comes, but Armaan feels the weight of the night lingering. He clutches the diary, the words burned into his mind. The town moves around him as if nothing has changed, but he knows better. Something is waiting to be uncovered. He finds Malvi Sahib in the mosque's courtyard, sweeping fallen leaves. Without pretense, Armaan places the diary before him. Tell me the truth. The old man's hands still. He exhales heavily, eyes filled with something between sorrow and resignation. You were never supposed to find this. Layla appears, her face pale. What do you mean? Malvi Sahib sets the broom aside, glancing toward the hills beyond the town. Karish was not just a woman. She was a promise unkept, a love unresolved. And this town has been trying to forget her for decades. Armaan's jaw tightens. Because of me? The elder nods. Because of who you were. And who you are now. The truth unravels like a thread pulled loose. Armaan had lived in this town before. Another life, another time. He had been a soldier, in love with Karish, swearing to return. But war had a cruel way of stealing time. By the time he came back, she was gone. No one knew how, only that one night, she disappeared. Some believed she had been betrayed, led away by false promises. Others whispered of a curse, that love left unfinished would find its way back, even if the souls had to be reborn. Armaan breathes deeply, his past and present colliding. Then why am I here again? Layla steps forward. Because she never left. A hush settles. The meaning is clear. Karish's story had never ended, and neither had his. A final entry in the diary speaks of a place, a well at the edge of town. A place she feared, a place she was drawn to. Armaan stands, determination setting in. Then that's where I need to go. Malvi Sahib grips his wrist. Be careful. The past is not like being disturbed, but Armaan knows there is no turning back.
Not now.
The answers wait for him, buried in the shadows of the town, in the whispers of the wind, and in the depths of a forgotten well. The well stands at the town's edge, shrouded in overgrown vines and silence. The air is thick, expectant, as if the earth itself remembers. Armaan steps closer, feeling a pull deep within his chest. The wooden cover is old, but heavy. With effort, he pries it open, dust and time resisting his touch. A hollow darkness greets him, but something glints at the bottom. Layla watches from a distance, fear in her eyes. Are you sure? He doesn't answer. He already knows. Reaching inside, his fingers brush against metal. A rusted box, locked but fragile. He lifts it carefully, its weight unsettling. With a single push, the lock crumbles. The lid creaks open. Inside, a letter, aged and delicate, folded with care. A locket, identical to the one around his neck, but with two names engraved, Karish and Armaan. His hands tremble as he unfolds the letter. The ink has faded, but the words remain. My love, if you find this, know that I never left. I waited. I trusted.
But they took me where you could not follow.
I see them now, shadows at the edge of the water. They whisper that you will return, that love does not forget. But if you do not grieve. Do not search. Let me rest, and let yourself be free. Love does not die, but it must find peace. A gust of wind stirs, carrying a faint whisper. His name. A presence lingers, unseen but felt. A warmth, a sadness, a farewell. Armaan closes his eyes, the weight of lifetimes settling in his bones. He kneels, placing the letter back into the box. Then, he buries it beneath the ancient tree beside the well, pressing the earth down gently. The wind stills. The town is silent. Layla watches as he stands, something in his face changed. Lighter. Freed. As he walks away, the pendant against his chest grows warm. A final touch, a last goodbye. Behind him, the leaves of the old tree rustle, as if whispering a secret only the wind can carry.